I don't. Oh, we're live. Well,
Ah,
this is the first ever live Njoycast. This is exciting.
Well, it still tells me
oh,
I'm off
it's
air.
exciting.
Maybe I'm not cool enough for that.
Well, you're not live, just me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have no idea. This is our 193rd podcast, and we have no idea how this particular live show works. So, as always, pure professionalism. But yeah, and it really throws us off because that the show intro gets screwed up here going live. We don't have the welcome to the Njoystick podcast stuff because
Well, you can just.
we could still do it. There's no reason that we couldn't, but nah, we'll shake things up.
So by shake things up, we're not going to introduce ourselves. Damn it. Welcome to the Njoycast. It doesn't matter who the fuck we are because we've been playing video games.
Right. I don't like this. I wish we could have equal screen space here. There's probably a way to do it, but this Google Hangouts is the most complicated thing I've ever seen. You have to. I created 8 different events because in order to get the participants into the call, you have to hit the start button. But that makes it sound like you're starting the broadcast, and I didn't want to start the broadcast. So.
No, you're just starting the hangout, man.
Yeah, apparently. So we're hanging out.
Yeah.
That's usually how I hang out with my friends. Is I invite them all over, and then I announce that we're starting the hangout.
I like to picture that. You have everybody one of your friends starts to talk, and you shush them. You're like, it hasn't started yet, dude. Just sit there.
Dude, no fucking jokes yet. All right, we haven't hung out yet.
Oh, video games. You been playing anything?
You know what? This is actually the worst time to be doing a live show. I haven't played anything new since last week. A lot of Rocket League.
Keep the show at 5 minutes length. That's perfect.
Yeah, out of the 8 hours, we'll be Google's favorite show because it's 5 minutes long. Trying to think if I played anything different.
So you've been still playing a lot of Rocket League?
Here and there. A lot more Devil May Cry 4.
Yeah. That's what it's high as I was on Rocket League last week. It's not that I don't like it now. It's just that I haven't played it because every match they really need to address some of the matchmaking and the server issues.
Yeah.
And the bigger thing is I'm getting really frustrated with every match you join. Either your team scores a quick goal and other people on the other team start to disconnect, or you get scored against and your teammates start to get disconnect. It's Rocket League players have no confidence in themselves or something.
Well, there's so many. Yesterday, there was a game that fucking infuriated me because I got onto a server and everybody was well, it was a good connection all around, and my team went up 2 goals, and then 2 people both fucking quit, and they got replaced by people with terrible connections. And then because the connection was so terrible and I was just janking around all over the fucking screen, we lost by 2 because we just couldn't play.
Yeah.
And it was so annoying.
The last time I played, they didn't replace people. Once they dropped out, they were just, you ended up 3-on-1. If that last person dropped out, you get the forfeit win. But
I don't know if that still happens. I haven't had a forfeit win in a while. But I've had bots come in and then those bots get replaced afterwards. So.
That's kind of what they need, except for, like you said, if they're joining people that have terrible connections, that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. I just wish, this includes me, because there are times where I have a terrible connection. I don't want to be in a bad match. So if you can't get me into a good match, don't just throw me into some shit. And that game is the king of doing that to you.
And it's such a weird game when you get into a lot of games. If it's laggy, it's you just stutter around. But that game just slingshots you all over the damn arena.
It's so hard to be because the ball doesn't really respond to the car the way you always plan to anyway. It's really important that you hit the ball right. And when you're like coming up to like boost into the ball, like, and then you just suddenly jerk to the right, and you fuck yourself and like hit the ball into like a corner, and just it goes back into your zone. Like that is the worst feeling in the world. So I've been trying to play a lot less of that because I get so fucking mad.
Derek's smiling over here. We'll switch over to his face. He hasn't had any screen time yet.
Well, I just think it's funny about whenever Ben gets mad. He's happy, but not. I mean, he's happy.
A day later. Like in the the moment, it's a nightmare.
I'm sure that like at the time you're super pissed, but now it's like, yay!
I was getting that Joker mad sense, like where it's angry, but to the point that his brain broke and he's just smiling about it.
Yeah, I'm just fucking ripping my own face off and just going
crazy. That's insane.
I think you have the exact same couch as we do, Derek. I can tell by the one corner of one cushion that I can see.
It's not a couch, it's a beanbag chair.
Yeah, bro. That's how I roll. You want to buy a futon?
It's a total man cave thing where like he just like added everything that would be from the 80s.
I just realized that this video cast completely ruins the guess what sound Derek's making game, because now we can like spy on him.
Oh no! Totally. I can set the phone down, man. Yeah. It's not a problem. I can just set it down and walk away.
No more going to the bathroom on the podcast.
I know.
Well, now it'll be even more fucking scary. Like now it'll be more scary because we'll see the phone down, and then we'll see him.
Oh, we'll see him.
Oh no. Oh no, he talked too much about Rocket League.
Yes. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I glitched out. God damn it. Yeah.
You were talking about Rocket League, Ben. That's the problem.
No, I wasn't. I was talking about you being a murderer.
Yeah, that's what I can't wait till we start one of these podcasts and like Derek joins in and he's like in the middle of the woods since he's on his cell phone.
Guys, I can't talk for very long. I gotta go.
A shovel in one hand and his phone in the other. He'd have that same smile on his face, like, "Hey, what's up? I'm just out here in the woods doing stuff."
You know,
but he'll seem like a lot more high energy. Like he just did like a snort of meth or some shit, and just like yeah, guys, but I can't talk right now.
you don't snort meth.
Yeah, you do.
Or so I've heard.
You can. You absolutely can. Haven't you watched Breaking Bad?
No.
Pretty much any way you get it into your body would work.
Yeah, it's just fucking. You grind any drug up into dust.
You can grind
that shit right into your brain, man.
Well, people do it with alcohol. That's crazy.
Like, I don't know if you can inject meth without killing yourself, but I know you can snort it, and obviously you smoke it. Obviously, we all do, right?
And Joystick Drugcast.
I actually, I remember in high school that one of the kids told the teacher that he could teach better than he could, so he drew a diagram of how to smoke opium out of a light bulb on the board before he knew what was going on. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, we gotta erase this, and just erases it real quick. But you know, whenever you write on a chalkboard, it leaves that residue behind in the picture of what it was. I guess he pressed down hard enough on the chalkboard. It left that imprint for about a week of the actual diagram to smoke opium from a light bulb. It was pretty rad. I wish we would have had cell phones. We could have recorded it.
My favorite was when I was in college. We had a art history teacher. He was the weirdest guy. You have to be, I think, to be an art history teacher. But like they were 4-hour classes, and so you'd get a break every like 45 minutes. And for the first 45 minutes, he'd be relatively normal. You'd go on your 15-minute break, and then you'd come back, and his shirt would be all like disheveled, and his hair was all messed up, and he'd be like super high energy the rest of the class. So we're pretty sure we knew what he was doing on his breaks.
Injecting smack into his eyeballs.
The funniest was I had one. You always have at least like the one guy, especially in art school in your class, that's just like a complete fuck off, like slacker, whatever. And I remember.
Oh, hi, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, exactly. We were learning about something, and the kid asked this question, and it was like when he asked the question, we were all thinking that's the dumbest question I've ever heard. And then the professor looked at him and he says, "Are you fucking stupid? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." Like the teacher didn't even like sugarcoat it, and the kid was just like, "Oh, Yeah. Like,
There
it
was-
didn't seem like it hurt his feelings because it seemed like the kind of kid that got that all the time. But
I remember whenever I was in high school, we'd go to like jazz competitions and stuff, and one of the kids goes up to the musician, because there's always like a featured musician usually at all of them, and he goes up to him and says, "Hey, do you make tapes?" Like, and they were outside selling tapes and CDs. He's like, "Do you make tapes?" Yes, Jimmy, he makes tapes. He has a bunch of them for sale.
now, for you kids, tapes are like CDs, except for they're like square, and they have...
Hold on. Would you like me to
magnetic
show a tape? I have a tape here.
It doesn't surprise me.
Hold
We
on.
need to make the most of this visual format to
Okay,
educate people.
I'm gonna try something. Fade out.
We probably shouldn't have his camera featured, so we'll switch back over to you. Because we just faded out our main video.
Faded out by fade out, we showed like a real up close of his
And here
hand.
comes.
I know, I love the
Faded.
high-tech effect. Oh, he's back. Let's switch back over.
All right, so this kid's is a cassette tape.
No, that's a cassette tape box.
Damn it, Steve. This kid's is a cassette tape.
Now, can you explain the science behind it? Like,
There was
Here you go.
none.
This is a very important tape, kids.
It's kind of like the genie's lamp, but for audio.
yeah.
Kidnap it, and then
Is it backwards for you? Because it looks backwards for me.
No, it looks right for me.
Okay. So what happens, kids, is you put this into your tape deck, and right here you're going to see some ribbon. There's some stuff that happens, and it runs against it and makes some sounds, and people listen to it.
And there's like a 50% chance that instead of playing like it's supposed to, that ribbon gets all like wrapped up in the inner workings of the player. So that's
Hey,
all.
that's just the risk of doing business.
And if you have an old player, you listen to your song once. If you want to listen to it again, you get a pencil out and you rewind it.
Yeah. We used to have my dad had a truck that's how I learned about the Eagles, is he had a tape deck, and it got stuck in there one day, but you couldn't pull it out, but it was one that auto-reversed it, like auto-flipped it inside the tape deck. It was like that, kind of like whenever they had that Proclaimers tape stuck in the car from How I Met Your Mother. It was the same kind of situation.
Well, see, for me that would work just fine because I put a CD in my car back when my CD player worked, and it would be in there for 2 years before I'd switch to a new album. But
I just can't stop listening to Space Ghost's Musical Barbecue.
yeah, no.
I
Not
don't
a
know
fan
what
of
the
Space
fuck
Ghost?
you're talking about.
That's unfortunate.
So you were
I like
talking
Space
about
Coast to Coast.
bad teammates on Rocket League, man. I've been playing more. Yeah, you're right. This was like a worst possible week to start this new format. But I've been playing a lot of Heroes of the Storm, and I've been on some of the worst teams I think I've ever experienced in that game. And the weird thing is, 2 of the matches we ended up winning because it'd be like me and one other person that actually knew what the hell they were doing. And they were the most like grindy, frustrating. We had no business winning wins where you're almost unhappy that you won because you just reinforced all the bad like behavior in all the other teammates. And I've had the same thing on Rocket League where you have the idiots that like swarm the ball. There's like no sense of what they're doing, but you win anyway, so you know that they go off like, yeah, I'm the best player that there ever was. Multiplayer games are stupid. Why do we play them?
I don't.
No. Well, because Nintendo doesn't do multiplayer.
Which is funny because they're like the best in like multiplayer system right now.
They're getting there where they have like multiple online offerings that are even fun to play online. I'm gonna zoom in on Ben's face now because he's eating stuff. I like being in complete control of the broadcast.
Yeah, this show is unofficially officially sponsored by Starburst.
Mm-hmm. No, it's officially sponsored by.
This is backwards, so it's a Desert Star.
See it doing it to you too. See, it looks fine on this end, but it's backwards on yours. Cause
Yeah.
apparently, like when you do your video from the West Coast to the East Coast, well, to Midwest, it flips around at some point.
Well, it's actually coming to you live from the Mirror Realm.
Yeah, because it's got to be between Ohio and Missouri somewhere. I guess Indiana is that cutoff. Like, as soon as you hit Indiana, it's like everything flips.
That's how the world's actually. We're actually on the inside of a cube, and eventually you hit a 90-degree angle, everything flips around.
That would make so much sense.
My whole life I thought I lived in Ohio, but we actually live in Ohio.
Ohio. Ohio.
I'm just going to shake my head in disgust at this.
No, you're not. You're going to take part in it because I sang something, which means you're going to sing something.
Jungle love. Oh.
I think I want to know you.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is the worst show ever.
I was just looking down and saying, man, I've never been so happy to see the 0 number under the viewers.
Hi, I'm Morris Day, and this is the time. It is 4:27.
Have a nice day.
Now I'm thinking of the movie phone episode of Seinfeld.
Every time I think of...
Just tell me the number that you...
Why don't you tell me the time?
Is it too early to get into sports ball?
Probably.
Although that light's really bright, I don't know if this will work out. They've been talking a lot on the radio about the Tom Brady stuff, the Patriots. I don't know if either of you guys have been following that.
No.
Yeah.
You're a big football guy, Derek.
No, I'm just a big guy, Ben.
No, you like football because you talk a lot of shit when bad things happen to my team.
No, I talk a lot.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't talk trash if you don't even watch the sport.
I do whatever I can. It's just since I don't have cable, I can't very often.
Yeah. I can't blame you for not having cable. My cable box just like randomly shut down. Like it died and I couldn't get it to turn on. And luckily we had like a spare one. Like I just had a really basic cable box, just a small one. I think it goes up to like 67 channels. And that's like 67 channels worth watching, maybe like 10 more after that are just weird shit. But then they like somehow automatically updated that box like remotely. So now they like tried to add like a guide and shit to it. But like I'll show you the remote. Like this is the remote for it. There's no way to navigate a guide with this.
Did you get that from Radio Shack?
No, I got it from fucking Comcast because they're fucking dumbasses.
Close enough. About the same, right?
Radio Shack of cable.
Yeah. Well, we're Time Warner, but they're the Comcast and Time Warner. It was funny that they wanted to merge because they're already basically the same crap company. But I think we're on our like 8th cable box, and it's such a pain in the ass to replace them because, even my cell phone stores everything like to some remote cloud, but our cable box, every time we get a new one, you have to like go back in and remember what shows you had set to record. And for whatever reason now, like our old one, you could at least search for a show even if it wasn't on in the near future. You could put the title in, and whenever it did come up, it would record. Now you have to wait until it's actually on the guide, which it only goes like a week out or maybe 2 weeks out. So if you replace your cable box now, none of the fall shows are out, so you have to wait until fall and then remember what shows you want to watch. So you inevitably end up missing like the first 2 or 3 weeks of like half of your shows.
Yeah,
So-
I don't record anything. I don't watch that much TV. We pay way too much for cable for how little we want here. But I want sports.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's what we've talked about like over and over again, just ditching cable completely, and because we have Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime, so there's plenty of stuff to watch. But sports are like the one thing that I actually care about that's on TV. And
Well, doesn't ESPN have some kind of streaming service available?
well,
I mean, I
if
don't know
only
if
if
it's
you
on
have cable.
TV or what, but
well,
Like,
and
you can
that'll-
watch, like you can watch ESPN stuff, but only if you have a cable provider. So
Yeah.
like you can go online, but you have to put in like your cable information in order to watch stuff.
So
and
we
it's-
need to just come up with a master cable information and utilize that.
And that's the real problem with sports is it's not like if it was all on ESPN and you could subscribe to like one service, that would be one thing. But it's like some games are on ESPN, some are on Fox Sports.
Right,
some are
right.
on- and you can get the NFL online ticket or whatever, but then you have to do that for each sport that you want to watch.
And didn't the NFL online ticket come under fire because at some point they didn't allow all games to be broadcast? They had some blackout.
Well,
games in there.
that was the worst part is if I wanted to do like the MLS ticket, whatever the hell they call it, the online stuff, I would get every match except the Columbus Crew, the one that I actually want to see. All their home games are blacked out. They come online like the next day or something. But
that defeats the purpose.
Exactly. And if I remember right, I think they're even blacking out away games because the Crew signed some retarded exclusive deal. They're on the Time Warner Sports channel. And so if you live within, and it's some ridiculous radius, it's like if you live within 200 miles of the stadium and have Time Warner available, they black it out if you don't, because they want you to subscribe to Time Warner. That 200 miles, that's an awful long way to drive. Like, they're trying to be like, oh, it's feasible, you could just drive to the games. It's like 200 miles, I'm not driving that far for it.
That's a lot of mileage.
Yeah, because that's 400 miles.
And that also means then you have to take into account the fact that you can afford every ticket for each game as well.
So it's ridiculous. I can't wait for this TV deal to go up because I can't possibly see them renewing it. But I guess it all depends on how much money they have. Okay, these stupid gunners are coming back because my light is obnoxious.
Oh man, that just looks
Is
rad.
it a spotlight? Is it?
It's like a shop light, like a fluorescent one, but one of the bulbs is like flickering because it's loose or something, but I can't reach it because I have a screen in the way. And so if I go into an epileptic... See, that might actually make this video podcast like the podcast to watch is if I like go into a seizure in the middle of it.
Yeah. I have like this webcam light and it's really small, but it's like piercing. Like it's like somebody like shining a laser like right into my eyeball. So every time I look up, it's like, ah.
Yeah.
Did Derek mute himself?
It looks like it, but watch this.
Derek done muted himself.
Oh, crap. I can't do it from here.
Is he farting? Derek, are you farting?
Yes, I was.
Well, don't hide
you
it
caught
and
that.
be proud.
See, I was looking because I think I have the power to unmute him even if he mutes himself, which is hilarious.
So I'm just looking at some game news and stuff,
Mhm.
and it looks like a rumor, but although Wii U might be pushed to 2017.
Yeah, well, I know Mike Futter of Game Informer pointed out today that Nintendo updated their 2016 release list, and Zelda, like, they didn't say anything about it, but Zelda wasn't on it. Like, they just kind of left
Yeah, I
it.
haven't had a chance to look at it yet. I heard they did, but...
And of course and he's the kind of, like, I like his news reporting because he's not the kind to jump on that, like, hey, look, Zelda's definitely pushed back, but he just pointed it out because, like you said, Ben, that's a rumor. But I mean, it's interesting that they wouldn't, because it's not like the list was only games that have an actual release date. It was like, here are the games we're going to release next year. I think it had something to do with their financial reports or whatever.
Well, but also think of it this way, because every time a game is delayed from Nintendo, it seems like it's always for a good reason. The catch.
And everybody's jumping on delay. I'm sitting here, I'm like the one idiot, like, yeah, 2015.
I don't know. I don't. Princess getting pushed back for the fucking Wii was a good delay. I thought that was
a lot of
stupid.
Wii U's launch games got delayed, and that was really bad for it. But I'm gonna try to fix this before it kills me. No.
Everyone tune in now. It's gonna kill him.
That's a little
Steve
better
totally
too.
missed that on purpose.
It's a softer light. You don't have to see as much of my face, which is always good. So,
Is it the same on like how it looks on my end, where like my fucking webcam is making my shit like fucking really wide, and
Yes.
like your guys are all vertical and
Like
shit.
your head is.
Mine's
and the rest of
wide. Yours is wider, it looks like, and then Derek's is like.
I don't think I can do anything about that.
And if people are watching, they're probably sick because I keep like rapidly switching back and forth between cameras, but that's cool.
Well, let them be sick.
I can't believe. I guess Gamescom is like next week, and I haven't been hearing a whole lot about it.
I mean, I haven't been on Twitter a whole lot recently, just because
You're
been busy.
a grown man.
You know, I've been adulting a lot.
They banned you.
People say what?
They banned you.
Possibly. I mean, I have been kicked out of a few places, but that's another story for another show, unless you want to do this one later. But anyway, I just haven't seen a whole lot in regards to what's coming up, who's going to be there, what's the big reveals, if there are any. But I just haven't seen it. And I mean, granted, I haven't had a whole lot of time, but every time I get a chance, I scour through and see what's the latest on any of this. And there's just not a lot to go on, it seems.
Yeah, and that's weird because Gamescom usually has a lot of not E3 level, but it's
right. I mean, it's got some
there.
reveals.
I am expecting or hoping to hear some stuff about the what is it? It's Cyberpunk 2077. I think the CD Projekt Red's other project. They announced it, I think, at Gamescom like 2 years ago, and then you haven't really heard much from it. It's based on the Mike Pondsmith like tabletop role-playing game, and CD Projekt Red, with Gamescom being basically in their backyard, I wasn't surprised when we didn't hear anything at E3 because I figured they're waiting for this show, especially now that E3 was right after, I want to say, The Witcher 3's release. It was relatively close, so you don't want to take focus off the game you just released. Now the game's been out long enough, I think that they'll hopefully be ready to talk about their next one. So I'm hoping to see that. Blizzard today just announced that they'll be showing the next World of Warcraft expansion. I know both of you are stoked about that. But it seems...
That's awesome.
I thought you were like trying to hold that in until you heard the word World of Warcraft. You're like, but yeah, I'm not. That's about my reaction to it too, because I don't play that anymore. But it's weird that they're gonna debut that at Gamescom and not, BlizzCon, because you'd think
right, unless maybe they have something bigger planned for that.
Yeah,
that
like I don't feel like
situation.
I don't feel like that's anything they really need to make a big event about, because World of Warcraft is still fucking heroin. So, like, you don't need to be. You don't need to be like, hey, we have more heroin. Like, you can just be like.
I'm curious how much they're going to be putting into this, because even some of the like most hardcore World of Warcraft people that I still know, when they're like, "Oh, another expansion," they're all just kind of like, "Eh, we'll see what it is."
I'm gonna buy it, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I have a lady I work with who was very excited about the Mists of Pandaria. Is that how it was? Is it Pandaria or Pandarian?
Pandaria.
So I know she was very excited about that because that was end of last year-ish.
It's been a while, because that was 2 expansions ago. Warlords
I think that was whenever I was working at GameStop still, or a company that shall not be named. I don't know, whatever you want to say. But because I think that was whenever I was working there when it came out. Because I remember we talked about having a midnight release, but there wasn't enough pre-orders for it.
Sign of the times.
Well, and the thing is, if you had a digital pre-order, it's like, why do you go get a physical copy? You already have a digital copy of it coming to you.
But you need the physical copy. It's important.
I agree, because I have a lot of physical copies I'm looking at right now.
Now that I play everything on PC, I can't tell you the last time I bought a physical copy of something.
I've bought a bunch of physical copies of shit.
I got a physical copy of something recently.
But, well, the only time I've been like, I should just buy this digitally, it was Batman, and we saw how that worked out for me. It was a fucking game I hated, and I deleted it on accident. But also,
I was curious about that, Ben, because I know you, and I've seen enough people talking about. Like, I saw somebody today tweet that he said something like, "I just finally finished that last fucking Riddler race," and like he wasn't even happy about it that he did it. It was just like
it's done.
And I'm just curious how long it's going to be until that like bugs you enough that you go back and do all that extra content.
Well, I have like 100 Riddler trophies left to find, so it'll be a while. I remember I've been streaming a lot more lately, and one of the times I streamed, I tried to stream me just doing that, and it was so fucking boring. And I just need, even for my streams that are pretty boring anyway and pretty mellow, that was just like, I can't do this. I couldn't, even if somebody found this on accident, I wouldn't want to subject them to me just being annoyed at these stupid racing fucking trophy bullshits.
Yeah, that's like me with 80% of the games I stream. Like, hey, here's this weird indie early access sandbox game.
But at least that's weird because no one heard of it.
That's true.
Everyone knows what Batman is. This one just sucks.
Yeah.
What's really frustrating about that game is I talk to people on Twitter and we all agree that the same shit is bad, and we're all frustrated with the game. But then I read their write-ups about it and they're positive. And it's it's still a good game. It's not as good as the others, but it's still good. No, it's not. It's a terrible Batman game.
See, what defines good game to you and I is 100% contingent.
I was gonna say too. I think we've all been there though, when we've had games that we do nothing but complain about, but at the end of the day, you're like, but I enjoy playing it. But
yeah, and I think Batman's just one of those that doesn't apply on that level for me.
It's kind of like a guilty pleasure for some folks. It sounds like.
Although I did see a indie dev, I forget which one, post a screenshot of a Metacritic review, and it looked like one of the actual critic, not like a user review, and they were kind of pissed off because it brought it's a game that's been out a while, and so it already had a pretty steady score, and it brought it down a little bit, but the review said, this is the best game in this genre, 6.5 out of 10.
What genre?
That's why I'm
what
trying
is
to remember.
The open world fucking sabotaged bullshit?
Yeah, it was something. I mean, it was one that I had played, and it was a pretty good game. I mean, it's not a 10 out of 10, but it's just weird to and it was worded a little differently than that. It was worded like they really enjoyed playing it, and then they gave it a 6.5 out of 10. It's like,
well, that's kind of backwards, isn't it?
This is one of my favorite games, but it's only fair. Yeah, it's only okay.
The developer forgot to pay us off, so
they didn't give us a review copy.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a really funny. I don't know if you guys have seen the Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account. It's actually pretty goddamn funny.
I've seen some of it, yeah.
But games trailers, I guess they I like game trailers. I think they're a pretty good site, but I guess they were doing something about Sonic the Hedgehog, and they were talking shit about Sonic Generations and how it sucks, and the Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter was like, dude, you gave us an 8. You can't you can't give us an 8 out of 10 and then say this game sucks.
Yeah, I loved that because that was pretty funny. And you can see how that happened because whoever was talking bad about it is probably not the same person that reviewed it. Right. There's even a chance that person didn't even work for them at the time of the review because Generation's been out a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's
a couple
been
of years.
Yeah. So, but it's funny because the games trailers is a big enough site. You would hope that you'd think to look up your own site's publication's review before you.
Well, even why would you pick that game out of all the terror games? Why would you go with the one that people thought was actually all right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, not great, but not terrible. I mean, I think that's.
I mean, it's
I enjoyed
Sonic 2006 because that was just an epitome of bad.
And Sonic's a weird. We've talked about it before too. I think Sonic's got itself in a weird place where people like expect it to be better than it has any right to be. Like if you go back and play the original Sonics, they're really not that good. But it's like we
They're
place them
okay.
way up on a pedestal, and then they're like, why aren't these new ones awesome?
Because it was the best that Sega could do, like to match like sort of the Mario thing, and it was nowhere near like a Mario level platformer, but it was
Sonic
kind of
wasn't even
unique.
originally planned. I mean, Sonic wasn't originally even planned to be their mascot, from what I understood at first.
Well,
There
they tried to have
was,
like
I think,
18 mascots.
Well, didn't they have
yeah,
some
but
just like
still.
generic cartoon mascot
No, I
that
think
they...
Toe Jam and Earl at some point were destined to be the mascot.
Yeah,
Which
that sounds like
fantastic.
that sounds like a very 90s approach to mascots. I could get behind that. But then like I've been rewatching a Let's Play of Sonic Adventure, which when I played it as a kid, I liked that game. That game is terrible now. Like, and you realize like they had no faith in any of their systems, like because it's just constantly like, okay, here's a Sonic the level, and now you're in a go-kart, and now you're fishing, and now you're digging holes, and it's like, what is your game? And
Everything.
like that's
That's
been
light.
Sonic the Hedgehog's problem for years. Is like they have no faith in any one system, so they just like try to throw a barrage of shit at you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I mean, he's guest starred in so many different things. Like, oh, here's Sonic Tennis, and like you were saying, here's Sonic Sega All Stars. By the way, that is a solid racing title, I thought. But that's beside
I
the
never
point.
played it.
It's pretty solid. But I mean, really, he's been in about every genre. Oh, hey, let's pair him up with Mario and go to the Olympics. Woo! But
Well, those are all like spin-offs. I'm talking in Sonic Adventure. There's never like, there's not just one level where you're like just doing Sonic shit. You're always like learning a new mechanic instead of like learning a mechanic initially and then it fleshes out the more you play the game and you start to master it.
Right.
Like
Sonic Adventure was bad about that because it seems, and I mean, I'm all about enhancing your abilities as you progress through the game because that makes sense. I mean, that's just how most games are structured anymore.
Right.
But like, I mean, you start out and you get that ring dash that lets you dash through a line of rings or a path of rings,
right.
and you got to utilize that. Like, the thing is, once they introduce a mechanic, they
kind of drop it
crazy and just drive it into the ground.
Well, not even that. Like they have you do it like 10 times and then they drop it completely.
Yeah, they grind it so hard and it's like, okay, done.
Yeah, you get to the next stage or whatever. They're like, okay, now it's this mechanic, and
exactly.
I hate that. I don't know what's worse though: games that constantly like introduce new mechanics and drop old ones, or games that are like the exact same all the way to like the last level and then introduce. Yeah. I hate that.
Devil May Cry is actually really bad about that. The first Devil May Cry, you play through it and it's all kind of a normal game. There's kind of a weird underwater section that's really awkward to control and it's really just bad. I don't know why they put it in there. But okay, that's some weird thing. At the end of the game, it turns into like a fucking arcade flight shooter thing. and it's, what the fuck is this? I was sword fighting a demon god and now I'm just trying to fly a plane out of a cave. It's really stupid and weird.
Well, with all that being said, I mean, back to Sonic for a second, it is probably the best game out of the Sonic the Hedgehog adventure genre for originally released without a director's cut. 5 out of 10.
That's... And I like how specific you had to be on, like... It's like, well, Super Mario Brothers 2... That all being said is the best Mario game that was a direct sequel of the very first game, but wasn't a direct story continuation that happened before Mario 3. Like, you narrow it down to where it's the only eligible...
I mean, Mario 2 was probably the best game in its genre for games that were originally ported from Doki Doki Panic to a Mario title.
Right.
Probably.
6 out of 10.
Mario 2 gets a lot of crap for that, but I like it. To me, it's still one of those classic, and I don't know if it's just because it was from, our childhood and we played a lot of it.
I hated it. Absolutely.
I liked that you had, I think it was probably the first game that I remember playing where you could choose between different characters, and they actually had different abilities. So
Right.
there was reasons to.
And that wasn't even supposed to be Mario as the best thing. I mean, it was Doki Doki Panic, and it was all about these people in like an Arabian setting in a dream world.
But right before release, Nintendo Doki Doki panicked and decided to slap Mario on it instead.
And see, here's the thing: without that, we wouldn't have some of the most recognizable figures, such as Shy Guys.
Right, and
The Shy Guys came from that.
Birdo,
Birdo
Birdo,
came
yeah.
from Doki Doki Panic.
I guess we can't say Birdo's one of the most recognizable, but
Well, I mean, but think about it, because Birdo's in a lot of stuff these days. It made it into things such as Mario Baseball and Mario, one of the Mario Karts, I think Double Dash maybe.
yeah, I thought.
I
She's
think
been
it's
in a
it's
lot of
trophies
Mario
for
Karts.
Brawl and the Wii U version and 3DS version. I mean, and Mario Golf, Birdo's playable character. So I mean, Birdo's come a long way from her Doki Doki Panic days.
She's
You
like
just
the
reminded me.
Waluigi of dumbass dinosaurs.
I never bought Mario Golf. I forget what they even called it. The 3DS one that
Yeah,
came out
World
last
Tour.
year. Yeah,
Just World Tour.
I should have. It was a great game. I loved the
it's
demo.
great. I remember
But-
you were saying like you got it you got the demo, and I think you got around 500 to 600 coins just playing the demo or something.
I think I played and I was just playing because there was a couple different like snippets of courses you could play.
Yeah,
and
I think
was
there was
playing,
3
like-
holes total.
Yeah.
I think is what it was.
Well, but for each, I don't think even each world, but there was 3 holes on like the regular, like the easiest possible.
oh,
course.
right. Of
And
the
then there was,
different
like-
worlds.
Yeah, and I just played like the basic course over and over and over again, trying to get like
Yeah.
holes in one on all the holes.
Yeah, I did that too. I just replayed that one level, but that kind of fucked up the game for me because it was like now I've kind of played my fill. Like,
So we're the exact reason Nintendo hates to put out demos.
Oh, it made me
Yeah.
buy it.
Yeah.
Yay, I'm a success.
I
One
still
out of
might
3
buy it
people
at some
will
point.
buy this game that demo it.
My thing is, and we talked about, I need to get a new memory card because I don't have any room on my current memory card for digital purchases. And so there's a whole bunch of games that I've wanted for 3DS that I just never got around to buying.
Well,
I kind
I-
of I hate to. Go ahead, Dirk.
Oh, the memory cost isn't that bad now, because it used to be rather steep to get the micro SD card and make it work for a 3DS. But luckily now, I mean, you can get a 32 gig, which I think the highest it supports is a 32 gig. You can get a 32 gig with the adapter and the actual micro card for around $20 at Walmart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not, the barrier to entry is not that high like it used to be.
Yeah. I think unfortunately, I hate to say it because the last thing I need to do is spend more money, but I think what turns me off to like getting anything for my 3DS, even though I love the console, is it's like I feel like I need a bigger screen now, so I need to get
Yeah,
like a new 3DS.
3DS. Yeah, you just have the regular 3DS, don't you? Not the
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it, but
the bigger screen is nice though, especially if you're old like me and you can't see anything. But
yeah.
I
I don't know.
to-
I'm just spoiled on like HD now, and I just like I want everything to like look as nice and as big as it possibly can. And
I want the new 3DS just because of Xenogears, but
Xenoblade.
or Xenoblade, yeah. No, Xenogears. I want to play the old PlayStation game on my new 3DS.
Yes, I hear it's coming out next year. They're
Uh-huh.
announcing it at Gamescom.
That's what everybody was talking about. What game? I guess Twilight Princess yesterday. And did they announce like a HD version of that's coming out or something? I never figured out why. I kept seeing it on Twitter like repeatedly, but
I don't think so. That would be a hard one to re-release.
Yeah.
Like the level of detail in that game, like that game didn't really look that great at the time, but you could tell they wish they had like HD functionality at that point because like
Well,
they just tried to
maybe-
cram so much shit into it.
maybe they'll do a Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword HD re-release.
we can only
Bundle
hope.
pack.
Like Twilight
It's-
Princess, I would love to replay that game in HD. I love that game to death, and Skyward Sword should not exist. I didn't
You know-
get book burning until now.
Game game burning. They need to release a Zelda tutorial anthology where it's just one game that's just all the tutorial levels of Zelda, like.
Oh, that would be kind of cool. Like, this is how you use the hook shot from Link to the Past. This is how you use the double hook shot from Twilight Princess.
The best part is
the spinner.
The Skyward Sword portion of that game would be like 8 hours long.
I think
here's how you try to do anything ever.
You could make a compilation of every boss fight and just make it into a single game. It'd be like Shadow of Colossus Zelda style.
That would be kind of cool.
I think people would be more like, what a fucking jip. Where's all the other stuff?
Well, you have it already. You just start with it.
Puzzle solving and dungeon exploration is kind of the bigger part of the Zelda games than the boss fights, but...
Well, but the boss fights have the puzzle element to it sometimes, too.
Yeah.
So, here's a fun question. What is the best Zelda boss?
The best Zelda boss?
I say that squiggly centipede thing from Link to the Past that knocks you down to the next level, so you have to start over the whole fucking boss fight every time.
That's a bad choice.
Yes, it is a horrible choice.
Thinking about this.
It can't be anything from Skyward Sword, especially not that last boss fight.
That one sucked.
Yeah. But any of those that you're fighting that guy, and I forget the name already.
It wasn't Girahim, was it?
It might have. Yeah, Girahim, because it was he was kind of androgynous, and the name was basically girl him, and it's so even the name is. But anyway, because I could never figure out what they wanted you to fucking do with the motion.
Yeah, every time you fought him, that sucked. The fucking the goddamn beast or whatever, who you had to jump on his head and hit the goddamn shit back into, that fucking fight sucked every time. And they make you do it 3 times. It's so fucking stupid.
Best fight, though. It would have to be Link to the Past, one of the... Either the final boss, where he's, in his shadow form or whatever.
Oh, when you're fighting, yeah.
And it was actually one of the easier fights, I always thought, of that game. Because his moves are very telegraphed. I liked the one that's the lizard with the Vega from Street Fighter mask that you had to use the bombs to blow off first, and then.
Oh yeah. I mean, anytime a Dodongo is involved, I'm pretty happy with that. But I think that really my favorite one was from Twilight Princess when you had to use the spinner to go around that central pillar.
What? Oh, the fucking dragon thing.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't remember if it was. I wanted to say it was some kind of serpent, but I couldn't remember if it was a dragon.
It was a skeleton dragon.
But that was probably my favorite because it was
awesome.
The spinner in conjunction with all this other stuff that you've done in the past. It's putting it all together and hoping for the best.
Yeah, Twilight Princess had some of the best bosses, I think. The duel with Ganon at the very end. It was hard to top Wind Waker, how that duel ends. But I thought Twilight Princess really made it fucking dramatic as hell. But I think my favorite was, even though it's not a hard boss fight, just the fantasy aspect of it is really cool. When you fight Phantom Ganon in Ocarina of Time, and he's going in and out of the pictures on his horse.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
I think that was actually because we've talked about how I never finished that game, and that might be the last boss fight that. I think that one's pretty early on in the game, isn't it?
It's the 4th dungeon. So. Okay,
so no, I probably got past that because.
But
as
I remember
we discussed, I got to the Desert Kingdom place, and that's about where I quit.
Yeah. But that dungeon was really important to me because that sort of felt like. That was the first step when I was a kid. It was I could get to the Forest Temple game, and then I stopped. I just get too freaked out by the wall masters and shit in that dungeon. So when I finally beat Phantom Ganon, it's wow, I beat my boogeyman, dude. And I might be able to beat this game, and then of course I didn't. I got fucking lost in the Shadow Temple or something, and that's way fucking scarier.
No, the Lens of Truth is what you had to use in the Shadow Temple, if I'm thinking right.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's full of fucking zombies.
Yeah,
And
you
it's
had to go
full of
down the
goddamn
well.
wall masters and floor masters and
Yeah.
fuck, dude. In 1980, whatever the fuck.
It's 1980 something.
I don't remember when the first Zelda came out. I'm not a real gamer. I've been exposed.
87?
That sounds right.
First one,
Well,
yeah.
I'll go with
I'm
that.
glad we haven't played any games so we can talk about games.
Talk
We had
about
a
old
fantastic
games.
game discussion already.
Zelda's always on my mind. Always.
Didn't
Yeah, you
wasn't that
seem
a
like-
song by Ray Charles?
Zelda's always on my mind. Yeah, I think that's how, like, the original lyrics went, but they couldn't get the licensing from Nintendo to publish it. So,
Right.
but it's funny because you say that, Ben, but you seem like the least excited you could possibly be for the new Zelda on Wii U. You're like, yeah, whatever, it'll come out whenever.
I'm gonna tell
Well,
you.
no,
I'm, a little bit
I'm
disappointed
actually,
with it.
I'm actually really bummed that, well, we, like, when it was first announced, we got caught up in this idiotic discussion of, like, why isn't he a girl? And it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, fucking
And
God,
you see,
they're-
look, there's a fold in the shirt. Those could be boobs. It's like, yeah.
fucking why isn't Mario a girl? I don't know. They didn't make him. I have no fucking idea. I don't care. It's a
Yeah,
Zelda
it is
game. We're
weird
all
that
gonna
that's
play.
like the one character that people latch onto. Like, you need to make it a girl. It's like, well, why not like a Super Princess Brothers game for?
Well, they had Super Princess Peach.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun, actually.
Well, they have like Peach be a playable character, but that's the thing is like maybe the discussion isn't why isn't Link a girl, like why don't you make a Zelda game where you play as Zelda? Like I can I can understand that a little
more. It wasn't
more.
for.
Well, it was terrible.
It wasn't for America.
It
It
was
wasn't
CDI.
for NES.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully they'll do the Witcher 3 thing where they'll say, oh, you get to play as both, but then when you play as Zelda, it's just these forced, like, really crappy segments that happen like 6 times throughout the entire game. They're like, look, you play as both.
Yeah.
Well, I get kind of. I understand it's not entirely the same because obviously, it's not an even playing field yet. So I understand people being like, we want more female protagonists to sort of balance the scales. But to me, like, being somebody who just likes to play good games, it's like, I don't ever say like, why isn't Samus a guy? Samus is a girl, and I like fucking Metroid
That's the way
a lot.
it's always been.
Yeah, and it's like, you can have, like, a Metroid game with a guy character in it, I guess, but, like, why...
Oh, God, that wouldn't the internet explode then?
Oh, fuck, yeah, I'll fucking... a white male Metroid game. Finally, the white male gets some representation.
Maybe you should play as a Chozo, so that way it's an androgynous bird creature.
And yeah. I get the complaint, because it's easy for us to say, given that 9 out of every 10 games is a white male protagonist, so it's like, yeah, I don't care when it's a girl, because it's like a one-off thing, and it's not the majority, but I agree with you in that, like, the argument shouldn't be, well, make Zelda or Link a girl.
Yeah, just change your protagonist.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, make new protagonists. Like, I don't know, and I get in arguments with people. We shouldn't have even talked about it because if anybody watches it, they'll find me on Twitter and they'll fucking bitch. But it's like,
yeah, between you and then Kelly posting that piece today about how, like, oh, stop whining. It's good that they're not supporting your old systems anymore. I don't know if you saw that, but
I saw you link it. I was almost, even though I think I would probably agree with it. Like, it sounded like such an opinion piece that I was almost half tempted to be like, what the fuck you mean, Kelly?
Yeah, and like I say, I don't disagree with her. It spawns because she's a huge BioWare Dragon Age fan, but it doesn't apply to just them, but they're the ones that recently announced that future DLC will not support the 360 and PS3 versions of Inquisition. And, of course, then you get all these fanboys and fangirls, like, bitching, like, oh, well, that's just like you, EA, to fuck over your fans and blah, blah, blah. And the game's been out a year, and it's got DLC on those old platforms. I don't know why these people that have the old systems expect it to continue to be supported. And
I don't know. I mean,
her point
I have an
is they
old system,
can't.
and I get it because you can't move forward with, I mean, technology
That's
unless
her
you
point,
cut
and
off.
that's what Mark Dara, I think his name is, the director for Inquisition. They want to do things in these expansions that are just not possible on the older versions. So, I mean, what are you going to do? And I don't see how supporting your game for a year and giving a massive DLC and a
Right.
expansive hack-on is screwing over your fans. Like, I understand being disappointed, but
I think, and I honestly, this was even, I'm not really into Dragon Age, but I felt the same way about Far Cry 4 also, like when that came out, where it was kind of just like, just release it for the next gen of consoles. Like, don't even release it at all for the past gen then. Because I agree that, like, if they can only do this on the new systems, then that's just tough
Right.
breaks.
Well, and
But at the
that
same
drives
time,
business to the new systems.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like, you release this game on these older systems. I understand where they're coming from, but that's also a hard pill to swallow if you're like a fan of that game playing it on an old system. It's like you released it for that. So
here's the funny thing. I can't tell you how many comments I read from people like that were, oh, now you're not even supporting it anymore on last-gen systems. Way to dick over your fans. I'm glad that when I played it on 360 it sucked and I turned it back in. I'm like,
well,
so
then, yeah.
you're not even playing it because you say the version sucks, but now you're saying they're dicking you over
Fuck.
now by not making a sucky game. Like,
That's absurd.
how do you sit there and complain about a game not getting DLC for a game that you flat out say you don't own? Like,
How can you fuck over your fans like this? I pirated your game and I've played it loyally since I stole it. Like,
right.
As a side note, I will have to say that I'll probably cut out here shortly because I just realized that my phone's at like 5%.
oh shit. You should
I like that you leaned forward now though, and your whole face is glowing. Like, look at this.
You like that with just these sunken eyes, these dead eyes.
Like, if this wasn't the first one where I'm still trying to figure out how to use this, I'd be playing some sound effect in the background that's like the oh. Waiting for you to say, oh, well, I can do this. Keep talking. I'm going to dick around with some of these features and it'll be hilarious.
Yeah, I can talk about a couple things.
you should. If you only have 5%, you should.
Come on,
so I'm just
stay.
going to let it ride to the end, and that way it'll hopefully end at something legitimately amazing. I did get something in recently that I'm very excited about. I got another card in for my arcade machine, so I am excited to be throwing that in there and playing it. I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 arcade game Play Choice 10 card, so I'll be throwing that in soon to hang out with that, yeah.
I'm disappointed. What I was trying to do is, I noticed earlier before we started, Google has an effects tab where you can add like stupid overlay, like hats and stuff. And
you had a halo on your head, that's why I left.
but it was supposed to go on your head. It won't let me do it on yours. I can only do it on mine.
Well, that's because I'm awesome.
Yeah. Oh well. You could probably do it on your end, but now the joke's ruined.
One other thing I will say probably before I get killed cut out by Power. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, good stuff. Also, SteamWorld Heist will be coming out soon. It's like a game set in the same SteamWorld Dig universe.
It's a different kind of game, though. Cause wasn't SteamWorld Dig like a platform, like mostly like a puzzle game?
Not really. It was very Miner VGA-ish. If you ever played Miner VGA or Miner 49er, I think was another one that they played.
Yeah.
Where you mine and you've got this whole setup. And I mean, there was maybe some puzzle element to it, like, oh, if I drop this block, it's going to fall down and it's going to do this. But the fact that there were actual enemies that you could fight was not something I remember from Miner VGA. Or Miner Dig Deep or whatever there also is out there. But, I mean, there's tons of them. But anyway, so SteamWorld Heist, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to be able to win a spot in the ambassador program on that too. So whenever that comes out and available, I'll be very excited and we'll probably actually pick up a keyboard again to type something up on that. But
It's sad
My
that
life
you
has
have a
been very,
cassette
very
within
busy.
arm's reach, but you don't own a keyboard. Like,
Oh no, I have one over there. It's cool, bro. You want a picture of it? I'll get it too. And actually, I
It's
have
like
an
a
NES
really old
keyboard.
keyboard that you have to like pull a fucking crank and it's like gas powered, but
yeah.
he does have a keyboard.
I actually have the NES keyboard, the official Miracle Piano teaching system keyboard still.
I saw
Power
this
pad is not a keyboard, Derek.
right up your
Would you
alley,
like to see
Derek,
it too,
but,
since we have this technology?
Yeah.
All right, fade out.
Sony did announce that they're coming out with like a keyboard and mouse type peripheral for PlayStation 4. So, but it's not a full keyboard. It's like one of those little like
Latch it
laser.
onto things, or
Yeah, where it's got like the WSA or WASD keys, but they don't label them as that. But it's for first-person shooters if you want to play keyboard and mouse style, but it's not a full keyboard. I don't know why. You'd think it'd be easier to just make a fucking keyboard because you wouldn't have to produce a special piece of hardware. You just say, here.
most keyboards are USB, so just have like
Right.
just
All right,
have
if you're
keyboard
ready.
functionality. I'm ready.
It's about to happen.
Oh, I better switch over to Derek Cam.
So here it is.
I hope you
American-
type your reviews on that. Like,
So, for the naysayers, here is the official Nintendo seal of quality. As you can see there, software tool works. Get your
Alright.
full keys.
I should actually probably make you the big screen, huh, and not try to like see the fucking logo in a thumbnail.
And then here, fade out. And wait, fade in. We'll go over here to where the actual cartridge is. Here's your actual cartridge that you would like to see.
it's funny to me that this is random, but your phone, like when you're sitting there talking, it does fine, but when like the whole scene is moving, I'm getting like 3 frames a second. Like, like whoa, this is too. And I don't think it has to do with the hardware. I think your phone is just like prone to motion sickness.
I just move fast.
Yeah.
Oh, and I talked about streaming. If and when I get that, this will be the first game I stream with a Retron 5. So,
Samson.
So look forward to
Little.
that. Retron 5 speedruns coming your way.
yeah. This is probably one of the rarest NES games I was talking about, and I think it'd be fun to speedrun, or even just play it in general.
Well,
Now
you
I'm
should-
waiting for him to go like accidentally drop it on camera and like have the part shatter. Like,
Oh shit! He falls in the toilet.
did we lose him? Did his battery die, or is he transitioning?
I was trying to, oh, here it is.
Oh, he's still there. Just way off in the distance
I'm
somewhere.
going to also stream this if I end up with the Retron 5 for Ben. Whoosh. Just for Ben.
What do we got there?
DuckTales and DuckTales 2.
That's you shouldn't have those.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
you should, because he'll prove that we were right about that. Like, that
My
the
fucking-
originals aren't any better than the...
My fucking brother started replaying that DuckTales remastered shit. He played through it twice. Like, and
Oh, yeah,
just
it's
like,
great.
no, it's not. It's fucking
Does-
bad. It's
Does
so
he
bad.
like it, or was he just subjecting himself to it for some reason?
I have no idea. At no point did it look fun, and at no
Well-
point when I told him it wasn't fun did he try to correct me. So-
It's like, yeah.
But I can beat it on hard, so I'm gonna keep playing.
Well, with that, I'm going to sign off before this dies 100%.
All right.
So now I know the capability of my battery, and I have
Yeah.
an external battery. I'll make sure it's charged next time.
We're not inviting you back on next time.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, that makes this
This
so
is
much
a-
easier.
Now we
How-
know the capability.
How dare you compromise the professionality of our show by having a battery that doesn't last the whole time? I say as Ben's camera freezes. Yeah, there it goes. Oh, nope. It went from a smiling Ben to one like rubbing his temples like,
So,
Yeah.
has there been a viewer yet? Have we got any views?
No, we haven't.
Thanks for
I've been
pointing it
watching
out,
the
though.
chat.
Yeah.
I was curious how many people got to see our smiling mugs.
0.
I assume as soon as this gets uploaded to YouTube, we'll be YouTube stars. We're the next PewDiePie.
Keegan, Michael Key, and Peel. Yes.
Uh,
Yes, we will. Penn and Teller.
it only
distinct
gets better
possibility.
from here on out.
Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles, definitely.
I could see Ben being Ryan Stiles.
Yeah.
I'll switch
That's
back over
flattering.
here. See? Yeah. Oh, I don't mean personality or funny wise. Just you're tall and skinny.
You're tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
You
not
like
that
a stick with
tall.
a big nose. Hey.
Ryan
I don't know
Stiles
what
is
your nose is big or
genuinely
not.
tall.
Yeah.
I'm an average height person, and we're surrounded by fucking munchkins on this show.
Yeah, I was relieved that Derek's not that much taller than me. You
Yeah.
are. Everybody is, but
It
but
was
not
kind of
much.
funny. I was like, oh, that's Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So,
He's
well,
delightful. I'm gonna give the little fellow a lollipop.
Hey, on the plus side, every now and then people like sit on park benches and feed me crumbs.
I did throw a Pokeball at him and try to catch him.
That was an awkward meeting.
Yeah. His wife's like, no, that's the real thing. He's real.
I know
It's
he's
not a
real.
ditto.
This is a real ass Master Ball. Get in
I
there.
want to do that. That needs to be an Njoycast YouTube feature. Is one of us just filming ourselves going around throwing Pokeballs at people.
I guess I would have to be the one that does that since I have Pokeballs.
Yeah. And you're probably no, I'm probably the one that people would be most excited to watch get beat up by random strangers. Like.
Yes. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I'm signing off because my phone's
Alright.
just about to that point.
All right. Thanks for
Okay.
joining us, Derek.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And now, folks, this is when the real show begins. Where we can just... He's still listening. That's not fair. Oh, there he goes. Nope, he's back. Oh, no, he's not. I don't know what's
This is
going on
fucking
over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we could probably end the show. It's been not an hour and a half, but it's been over an hour.
It's been over an hour.
That's
Are we sure about
podcasting.
that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was a good test, a good fucking dig around show.
It worked.
Well,
And like I said,
I-
it can only get better from here.
yeah. Give me time to read the rule book for this Jack the Ripper board game I bought. That was $60.
Is it one of those board games that you like actually like when you, it's like Jumanji when you started it, you have to actually go out and start killing prostitutes in alleys? Like
Yes, it's like Jumanji, but you kill prostitutes. That's
right.
how they sold it to me. No, it's like a the board is basically this. I should be able to just show it, but then I would have to pull out everything in this box, and I'm not going to do that. But the entire board is this just this map of like Whitechapel streets and alleyways and stuff, and one person is Jack the Ripper, and he kind of has like the D&D screen in front of him, and he's like he picks out a hideout on that map, and then like he's like trying to navigate the streets silently, and then like everybody else is like the cops trying to track him down and stuff, but they can like everybody has different levels of movement they can do, and then they just sort of ask like, well, has he been here? And you're like the Jack the Ripper guy's like, yes, I have been there, or no, I haven't, and you're just trying to track him down to his hideout. And like I'm a sucker for anything that should not be a board game that is like
It
like
seems
a
like
fucking-
a neat idea, but
yeah,
It also
it's
sounds
supposedly
like- what's like the minimum number of players though? It sounds like one
it's it's 2 to 6 players, so that's
so two
pretty.
can
Yeah, one cop, one
two can play at this
Killer.
game. You have to say it
at
like
the
that.
game of murder.
Yeah, it always amazes me because board games have never been like a scene that I've been into. But every time that I'll go to like, there was like the one podcast that you pointed out a long time ago to me. I don't know if it's podcast or like they just do
Shut
YouTube
up and sit
videos.
down. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like so many just creative, interesting.
Oh,
Board
board
games
games
out
are fucking awesome, man. I got this card game Libertalia, which is like a pirate card game, and every player like gets their own unique pirate that they control, but everybody has the same deck of cards, and you're trying to like the game takes place over the span of 3 weeks, and you're just trying to steal every day and like get the most like plunder and stuff, and like it's a kind of a complex game to explain unless you're playing it, but it is one of the best games I've ever played. And I don't mean that just because it's pirates, but that has something to do with it.
Yeah. And that's what I think Kickstarter, the one thing that Kickstarter is better for than video games is like board games, because there's been a lot of really cool board and card games that now they also seem to be even more prone to never getting delivered and created. But I think it's very easy for somebody, especially if they've not marketed and produced a game, a physical good before, to very much underestimate the cost of producing things. Making it, boxing it, shipping it.
And I mean, you kind of need, like I said, this Jack the Ripper game is really well presented. All the pieces of it feel really good, but it was $60. So if you want to make a more affordable board game, you're kind of stuck with like sort of either like cheap sort of wooden pieces like Catan or something, or.
But even Catan, I think, is like $40. But
what you're looking at anyway.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that's funny because we've bought a few of those kind of games in the past. It's, as somebody that doesn't play board games, every time that we go out and look for one, the cost surprises me. But then I kind of remind myself that it's like, well, it's actually, it's basically the same thing as a video game, except it's a physical game. And I pay just as much or more for video games.
And for the most part, for most games, it's like every time you play it, it's a different experience because you're playing it with people and different things happen, and it's cool. But then there are also ones like there's one that I was considering buying last night. It's like a Sherlock Holmes board game, and that's pretty much my personality in a nutshell: is Jack the Ripper, pirates, and Sherlock Holmes. Like that's all I fucking seem to care about anymore.
It's like two wrongs and a right. You got the saying.
Yeah,
pirates and Jack are both like terrible things, and then Sherlock's a great.
What if Jack the Ripper was a pirate and Sherlock Holmes caught him? And that's how that would be the perfect game for me. But the Sherlock Holmes game, it sounds like everything I would want to do for a Sherlock Holmes game, where you start out with a case, you and however many people are playing with you. It could just be you. It's a one player and up game. And you get this case and you're trying to solve it quicker and more efficiently than Sherlock Holmes. And it's really kind of complex, and you just sort of rack your brain about these cases for like hours sometimes. And that's what I want to do, but there are only 10 cases in it. So after you solve the mystery, the 10 different mysteries, you're done with the game.
Yeah, that's
and
what
the game's only
the
game's only like $40, but it's limited,
Yeah.
So it's like, and I don't resell shit.
And that's why I hate things like, and these are the cheesy board games, but even things like Trivial Pursuit and stuff, because there's only so many times you can play them, and then you've just got the answers because you've gotten the cards before or something like that, where it's not replayable. I think the last two games that we've bought, we just have the one. There's Treasure Island, and I forget the name of that company that does it, but they do a lot of little, like it comes in a little tin and it's card based, and it's one of those that's like 2 to 6 players, I think, or 2 to 8 players. But it's one of the co-op board games where you're all working together to try to like scavenge all the treasure off this island before the island sinks into the ocean. There was one that I bought a long time ago that I haven't got to play yet called Glom or Gloom. I guess it's Gloom. And it's really cool. It's a card-based one, but it's like all these cards. Some of them are transparent so you can stack them. And they're all like misfortune cards. And you have to try to put together the most like unfortunate events. But we just don't play that much stuff. And I think part of it's we have such a small house, we don't have like tabletops.
Yeah, my problem is I don't know enough people, so I can't like play the games that are like, like 4 to 6 players or whatever. I usually have 2 or 3 people I can play with reliably. Same reason I don't play too much shit multiplayer that's like local.
The camera, I think, is doing something now where it got a mind of its own and it keeps just automatically switching back between me and you.
I had to manually switch it to mine because the call was freaking out.
Yeah, that was happening too.
Which is probably a good sign to end this fucking show because it's getting out of control.
Yeah, we can do
Technology is taking over.
That's fine. I'm hungry anyway. I'm fat and I need refueled. Do you want to do the sign out?
What's that?
Do you want to do the sign off?
Oh, yeah. If anybody watches this or listens to it, or however the fuck we put it up, you can check us out at njoystick.com. As we said, we're not doing any writing, but other people who write for the site are. So go there. You can find the official Twitter feed at Njoystick. You can find Steve at Phaser3D. You can find Derek, who is with us but no longer. He's fired. Fuck him. at Merp and you can find me at BP Matlock. This was incredibly awkward. We'll do it again next week. Toodaloo.